We've talked a little bit about these in our other two previous segments, but we didn't really talk about Pittsburgh and San Diego.
Well, I mean, again, that game's going to hinge on Ben Roethlisberger's health. I think he's going to play, and if he plays, the Steelers are a different team.
Is it crazy that Ben Roethlisberger is going to play with this, like, could have died aorta rib
You know
thing?
what? We talked to Stefania Bell on our radio show, and she said that was a little dramatic, that's not really what was going to
really?
happen. There could have been a little more damage, and they held him out. He wasn't throwing very well, or he's throwing in pain. Like, he wasn't really loose, so they held him out. But that whole could have died thing was a bit exaggerated.
Well, okay, good to know, because
Yeah.
I was scared for him for a second. So it really hinges on that. But what about San Diego? I mean,
San Diego is laughable. I mean, Philip Rivers, I don't know. He deserves credit. We talked about this last week. I mean, he deserves credit for being a superstar quarterback and then being willing to play the role that he does in that mockumentary that they're doing. The clueless oaf. That's like amazing. I think his work is fantastic. And I really want to praise Norv Turner, who really looks sincere and earnest on the sidelines. Like, this horrible thing that's destroying the game for them that was going perfectly well for 3.5 quarters is like, God doggone it. We didn't get the first down, or God doggone it, he dropped the ball. Like, as if this is the first time it ever happened. Norv Turner is so earnest. And the fact that he can keep that facade up forget. They say, like, if a cornerback gets beat, you want to have a short memory, you don't want to remember. You should have some memory of the past. I mean, it's like this is the first time this ever happened. So I commend them. It's a fantastic, but it's not a game you're going to want to watch. And, if Roethlisberger plays, Pittsburgh San Diego's defense is good. That's the sad part. It's totally wasted. But I don't like many, or if any, of the Chargers' offensive players if Pittsburgh, I can tell there's going to be out. So maybe Denner Alexander or Malcolm Floyd are worth looking at. But Rivers is a broken man.
All right. Chicago at Minnesota.
This isn't. I mean, you're picking like the duds of the duds, but I will say.
Hey, people are fans of these teams, and these games matter.
Right, and people do have fantasy ownership. Obviously, Adrian Peterson gets 21 carries for 210 yards last week. Why not give him the ball 30 times if you're averaging 10 a carry when Ponder's averaging 4.8 per pass, and he has a pick or two, and he takes sacks. I mean, this guy's he's terrible. He threw an interception in the end zone on first down after a long Peterson run. Hand it off again. I mean, there's really no reason not to. And then against Chicago, it's good defense and kind of ugly offense. Their receivers are depleted. I mean, Brandon Marshall, you're going to start. Adrian Peterson, you're going to start. Who knows if Percy Harvin's even going to be able to play. Forte, you'll start. But this is an ugly game. Okay,
how about Cincinnati, Dallas at Cincinnati?
Yeah, this is a game between pretenders that think they're contenders. Like Dallas. I heard some tweets like, oh, yeah, Washington won. Dallas is still in it. No, you're not in it, okay? If the Giants don't make the playoffs, which they probably will, but if they don't, it's going to be the Redskins. They're better than you. And if it were you, you'd be out in the first round. So just forget it. Worry about...
I don't know. Tony Romo's growing on me.
Tony Romo's good. He's a good player, but Tony Romo's never been the problem.
No, he hasn't been the problem. But watching him, I don't know, maybe he's just getting wiser with age. I think he's making better decisions. And I actually think he's just a better football player.
Well, it partly helps that Des Bryant is playing well. And Des Bryant is one of the strongest receivers in the league. I mean, he just caught a ball and then shoved, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie into the end zone 3 yards. Just pile drove him just in, and he's just so strong. He's hard to tackle. He's kind of like a Brandon Marshall. He's not as tall, but he's just really strong. And between him and Miles Austin, who's still a little gimpy, he doesn't see himself in Witten, Romo has some good weapons. Yeah. But Dallas' D has not been playing well. Cincinnati's D has been playing well. I think this will be a good game. This will be like a good NFL game.
And with DeMarco Murray back, the minute you have a running game, your whole team just gets better. I don't know. I think it's going to be
interesting. DeMarco Murray did seem back, and I would start him. But Cincinnati's D's been playing well. Obviously, start A.J. Green. It's a no-brainer. And then you have, Ben Jarvis. I don't know who else. Jermaine Gresham, probably.
Where did Hawkins come from? Has he been doing well all season long?
No, he's doing well early. And then Mohamed Sanu was doing well, but Mohamed Sanu broke his leg or something bad. He's on IR, tore his knee. I can't remember what, but he's out.
Green Bay, Detroit.
Again, you want to see this game be 37-35. You think it's going to be like that, but it's always a little bit uglier. Matt Stafford seems to overthrow Calvin Johnson 2 times a game, when he's open for the touchdown. Ryan Broyles now tore his knee. He's out for the season. Titus Young, they told to go home. Nate Burleson's out for the season. They did tell him to go home. I don't know why it's so funny.
Because it sounds, anytime you say something like that, Liss, it sounds funny.
All right. So Mike Thomas is now their number 2 receiver, probably, the old Jacksonville possession guy. I mean, it's just thin, and you need another guy to punish the opposition, for double and triple teaming Calvin Johnson. I don't know if they can. Brandon Pettigrew's terrible. Okay, so you start Pettigrew, you start Calvin Johnson. Maybe Mike Thomas if you're desperate. On the other side, there are now 4 receivers. You don't know who the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 are in Green Bay. Who are they? Jordy Nelson had 1 point last week in fantasy leagues.
Well, he's hurt anyway.
Jordy Nelson?
Yeah.
Did he get hurt this
Yeah,
game?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't pay attention. He had one.
That's
point.
why.
Okay. And then Greg Jennings coming back is still gimpy. And then, Randall Cobb's been good, but now you have, Jennings back. And then you have, James Jones catches the touchdown, but he'd been quiet for a week. So it's kind of hard, and Jermichael Finley celebrates like crazy when he catches his, first down. He's not dropping the pass.
I hate it when guys
Just
do
calm
that.
down, dude. If you haven't caught a pass in 3 weeks, it's just not the offense that you liked before. It's not the Aaron Rodgers that you had before. It's just okay.
I think it's the Aaron Rodgers that you had before, but it's not the offensive line that you had before, which makes it not the Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, that and his season last year was so ridiculously good that even if everything were exactly the same, it would be very hard to repeat it because nobody in NFL history plays at that level except maybe once ever, and there's like 3 guys who have ever done it. Yeah. So that's why he's not repeating last year.
Okay, finally, Monday night, which should be the shootout of all shootouts, I'm sure, or supposedly, Houston at New England.
Could be a shootout, could maybe not be. Now the question is, if it's played at New England's pace, it'll be a shootout, right? And New England probably would like that. But the Texans actually have good defense. Now I don't know if Jonathan Joseph will be back. That's kind of a key because he's their best cover corner, probably a top 5 to 7 cover corner in the NFL. If he's out, I expect New England to move the ball, although the Texans' defensive line is very good. If the Texans run the ball a lot, that's New England's strength. New England's weakness is the secondary. Andre Johnson could have another very big game. You got to love Andre Johnson. You love Matt Schaub in this matchup. Aaron Foster, you don't think about sitting, so it doesn't really matter. Stephen Ridley, tough. It's a tough matchup for him, but I think he's almost matchup proof. Obviously Aaron Hernandez, big start, and Wes Welker. And the question is, is Brandon Lloyd usable anymore? I don't know.
When was the last time Brandon Lloyd was usable? Like, when was his last?
I don't remember, but it was
even decent
right.
game.
And he's never blown up either.
Yeah.
So, but again, they may have to. If the Texans, who do have a good offense when they throw the ball, do score points, then New England's going to have to get everybody involved, and they kind of need Lloyd, especially without Gronkowski, who's their real kind of their weapon. They need to have a couple other options.
All right, Week 14 in the books. This is RotoWire TV.